गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदा सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपस्ताय भूताय श्रीमते राधा गोविंद गोस्वामी निते नामने नमस्ते प्रभुपादे देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी राम जन्मस्थारिणे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदीयन्तस्तभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। जय। We'll read from Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita, chapter 24, New Jagannath Puri. But if you turn your attention to the impersonal and to the super soul in the heart, as the yogis do, then it is very difficult. It is very difficult. You cannot fix your attention to the impersonal. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that kleshodika taras taisham avyaktasya chetasam. Those who are attached to the impersonal feature of the absolute truth, their business is very troublesome. It is not like chanting, dancing, and eating. This is very nice, but that is very troublesome. And even if you speculate on the impersonal, the result that is achieved by working hard for many, many lives is that you will have to also eventually come to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada continued describing Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, citing evidence from scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Samhita. The first step in spiritual life, he explained, was to hear from Krishna himself. But Prabhupada warned that if one heard the class and then went outside and forgot, he could not improve. Whatever you are hearing, you should say to others, Prabhupada said. And he gave the example of how disciples were writing in the back of back to Godhead, what they had heard from their spiritual master. And to speak or write what one has heard, a person has to be thoughtful. You are hearing about Krishna and you have to think. Then you have to speak. Otherwise, it will not work. So, Shrotavya, Kirtitavyascha, Dheya, Pujyascha. And you should worship. Therefore, you require this deity for worshipping. We have to think of, we have to speak, we have to hear, we have to worship, Pujyascha. And should we do this occasionally? No, nityata, regularly, regularly. This is the process. So anyone who adopts this process, he can understand the absolute truth. This is the clear declaration of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much. Any questions? A young boy raised his hand and began earnestly. Well, you mentioned about how we should follow the supreme law, how we should be like what your spirit tells you, or what your supreme, whatever it tells you. I mean, whatever it tells you. I mean, if you meditate a lot, you feel you should do something. Prabhupada, it is not something, it must be actual fact, boy. Yeah, I mean, like, Prabhupada, so there is no question of something, boy. Well, I see, Prabhupada says, something is vague. You must speak what is that something, boy. Well, let's say be Prabhupada says that you cannot express. That means you have no idea. So we have to learn. This is the process. I'm speaking of the process. If you want to have knowledge of the absolute truth, the first thing is faith. Then you must be thoughtful. Then you must be devoted and you must hear from authentic sources. These are the different methods. And when you come to the ultimate knowledge from Brahman platform to Paramatma platform, then to the Supreme Absolute Personality of Godhead, then your duty shall be to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the perfection of your active life. These are the processes, and it is concluded that everyone, never mind what he is, his duty is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how can we satisfy? We have to hear about him. We have to speak about him. We have to think about him. We have to worship him. And that is regularly. This will help you. But if you have no worship, if you have no thought, if you have no hearing, if you have no speaking, and you're simply thinking of something, that something is not God. Boy says, I mean, well, I'm so young. I didn't know what I meant. I don't know what Prabhupada says, don't know that I'm speaking, that you have to know by these processes. We are all don't knows. So we have to know that this is the process. Young woman says, since we don't yet understand the supreme law because we are young and just new to this, then how can we speak about it? Prabhupada says, therefore you have to hear. The first thing is Shrotavya. You have to hear. Unless you hear, how can you speak? We are therefore giving you facility to hear. You hear and then you speak. Then you can think. We are giving all facility to hear, to speak, to think, to worship. This is the society's work. Unless you hear, how can you speak? The first task is given, Shrotavya, then Kirtitavyascha, Dheya, Pujyascha, Nityada. These are the processes you have to hear, and hearing, you have to repeat, chant, and when you have to think, and then you have to think, you have to worship. These are the processes. Upendra says, Swamiji, so we have to hear. I understand. But do we speak or do we first listen for a long time and then speak? Prabhupada says, no, why a long time? Suppose you hear 2 lines, you repeat those 2 lines, and aside from everything else, you hear Hare Krishna, so you can chant Hare Krishna. What is the difficulty there? Shrotavya, Kirtitavyascha, you have to hear and chant. So if you cannot remember all the topics which we are speaking from the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, you can at least remember this, Hare Krishna. Therefore, it is the easiest process. You hear Hare Krishna and chant Hare Krishna. The other things will come automatically. Now, this is possible for everyone. Even the child can repeat Hare Krishna. What is the difficulty? You hear Hare Krishna and chant Hare Krishna. We are not giving you very difficult or troublesome task. Then everything will follow. We are giving you everything. But if you feel in the beginning it is difficult, then you can do this. This is very nice. Chant Hare Krishna. You are doing that actually. Hearing and chanting. This process will help you. It is the basic principle of advancement in spiritual life. Without hearing, we shall simply concoct, waste our time, and mislead people. We have to hear from the authoritative sources. Srila Prabhupada paused. The philosophical talk had been rigorous, lasting about 45 minutes. He wasn't tired. He could have gone on. But now he wanted to conduct the deity installation. Everything necessary for spiritual life was here. The temple, the devotees, the books, the deity, prasadam. He wanted these young people to take advantage of it. Why should they remain living like animals and thinking of spiritual life as a vague groping for something? They should take advantage of Krishna's mercy and be successful and happy. And for this, Prabhupada was their tireless servant. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 4:30:15 Srimad Bhagavatam. Praja Visarga Adishtha Pitramam Anuvartata Tatra Kanyam Vararoham Tam Udvahat Machiram. Praja Visarga Adishtha Pitramam Anuvartata Tatra Kanyam Vararoham Tam Udvahat Machiram. Praja Visarga Adishtha Pitra Mam Anuvartata Tatra Kanyam Vararoham Tam Udvaha Tamachiram. Anyone would like to recite the verse?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Praja Visharga Adishta Pitra Mam Manuvartata Tatra Kannambararoham Tam Udvahata Machiram. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I must. Praja Visharga Adishta Pitra Mamunuvartata Tatra Kanyam Vararoham Tam Udvahata Mam Chiram. Hare Krishna.
Praja Visharga Adishta Pitra Mamunuvartata Tatra Kanyam Vararoham Tam Udvahata Machiram. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Praja Visarga Adishta Pitramam Anuvartata Tatra Kanyam Vararoham Tam Udvahata Mam Chiram.
Thank you. Would someone like to recite the synonyms and translation?
Sure. The synonyms. Oh, sorry, Prabhu. You can go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah, I'll just do the synonyms.
Okay.
Synonyms by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Praja Visarge, to create progeny. Adishta, being ordered. Pitra, by your father. Mam, my direction. Anuvartata, following. Tatra, there. Kanyam, the daughter. Vara Aroham, highly qualified and exquisitely beautiful. Tam, her. Udvahata, marry. Ma, without. Chiram, wasting time. Thank you, Mataji.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Since all of you are very much obedient to my orders, I ask you to immediately marry that girl who is so well qualified with beauty and good qualities. According to the order of your father, create progeny through her.
Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The Prachetas not only were great devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but were very obedient to the orders of their father. Therefore, the Lord asked them to marry the daughters of Ramalocha.
Jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So, Hare Krishna, Prabhujis and Matajis, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam morning discussion. So a quick recap of this chapter. We are on the 15th verse now, and this chapter started with Vidura asking a question from Maitreya Muni about the Prachetas, because for last few chapters, that was Prachetas topic was taken over by the Puranjana story, the allegorical story. And now he's coming back and asking Maitreya Muni. He's coming back to the topic about what happened to Prachetas after Lord Shiva gave darshan and after they have done the austerities for 10,000 years. What happened after that? So Maitreya Muni then replies that they were blessed with the darshan of the Lord, and the Lord gives them instructions and blessings. That's what this chapter is about. Now, this verse is continuation to the blessings and instructions which the Lord is giving to Prachetas. Prachetas from, I think, verse 8, Lord speaks, Lord blesses them. From verse 8 to 12, he instructs and bless them. So he was, first of all, he was the Lord is very pleased with the Prachetas right now. And the reason why he is pleased, if you will start reading even just the translations, we can clearly see why the Lord is so pleased. He's again and again mentioning that the first thing he mentions was the mutual friendship, the cooperation between Prachetas. He was so happy with them because of their mutual friendship and cooperation, what they had while performing the austerity. And the reason of their austerity was the obedience to their father. So the father asked them to create progeny, and that's how this whole austerities and everything started. So Lord is so pleased, and he blesses them, and he even blesses them with a son who would be no less than Brahma, he says, a son who will have the quality of no less than Brahma. Right. And then in verse 13 and 14, he's mentioning, okay, he has already mentioned in verse 12 about son. Now I think he need to mention about the wife as well, right? So from 13 to 14, he starts mentioning about the daughter of Pramlocha. And in this verse, which is 15, the conclusion verse of the marriage part, where he is saying that, so you married that daughter of Pramlocha. And he's saying that, you are obedient to me and you're obedient to your father. So now do what your father has been asked you to do, what father has asked you to do. So as we can see, this verse majorly emphasizes on obedience. Okay, so and over the last few classes, I think from verse 8 last week and this week, devotees have very versely and very nicely explained on obedience and mutual friendship and cooperation as well, elaborated on that. So we'll look at obedience and Krishna consciousness, right? Now we have these 4 points here. The class given by devotees over this last week and this week, they have spoken on obedience, especially verse 11. I think it was on Sunday, and Mataji explained very nicely about how to be obedient. That part was told by Mataji, and we will do kind of a spin-off that session, because we'll see what is considered obedience in Krishna consciousness, who should we obey to, and why we should be obedient. Okay. And we'll also look into a bit about difficulties which we face while obedience in Krishna consciousness, while obeying in Krishna consciousness, right? So let's start with the first topic, which is what is considered obedience. Now, in Krishna consciousness, we're talking about in Krishna consciousness, what is considered obedience? Obedience is actually, see, nowadays the word obedience is forgotten in our day-to-day life, because as Kali Yuga progress, it has become an uncommon term in the society, very uncommon term. And if you have anyone obedient in your family, you are the most fortunate person. It's perceived as that. So that is material part. But in spiritual life, obedience is a very, very, very important factor, right? So what is obedience? Obedience is the practical part of instruction. So whatever instructions are there, to apply them, to practice them, is obedience. I hope I'm making sense. So this is a verb. Obedience is a verb where you are, it's about action, right? As we read in Srila Prabhupada Lila Amrita, how he was talking that everything starts from hearing. Once we hear, what should be our next step? Repeat it. practice, repeat it, chant. So scriptures, the instructions in scriptures, that's not realized knowledge. It is revealed knowledge. It is revealed knowledge. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give that intelligence. As Chaitya Guru sitting in our everyone's heart, Krishna gives us that intelligence where we understand the scriptures, understand the instructions of the scriptures. And why will he give that intelligence to us? Right? It is given to us when we are sincerely being obedient to his orders. Then he reveals this knowledge. So it's not difficult to define obedience. Hope everyone in the group agrees with me. Obedience is putting instructions into practical use. But if anyone has any other views about obedience, we can look at it later as well. Right? Now, the idea of obeying someone often seems very, very difficult, very repellent to the mind. Who should we be obedient to? Why do I need to be obedient to anyone else? Why can't I just be obedient to my mind? My mind is a wonderful, I'm so intelligent, my IQ is this and that. And why can't I listen to my own mind? Why would we be obedient to anyone else? Any answers? Or no, let's not talk about why should we be obedient, but how has anyone felt that, I'm sure not now, we all are practicing devotees, but maybe in the past where your mind would have asked this question. Is that a question which has just occurred in my mind? Why I need to be obedient to anyone else?
Always, Mataji. Always.
She's
Even
too
now.
honest, but yes, it occurs to me. I'll be very honest now also sometimes, why I have to obey that person? So let's look at who should we be obedient to. So normally we are obedient to someone, if practically we'll look at, is out of fear, power, the person has too much power. So out of fear, out of respect, out of love, trust, that those are some few reasons why we are normally trying to be obedient to anyone other than our mind. Fear, trust, respect, or love. Whether it's family, whether it's some friend, some close friend, whether it's sometimes these political leaders. Now, please forgive me, this is 2023 slides. Some of them have already gone, but and some of them are still here. So, out of fear or out of respect, just I idolize that particular, leader, political leader. Sometimes we obey whatever they are saying, or sometimes we don't even have a choice. We have to obey what they are saying, like the demonetization. We just had to in India when it was done. We just had to obey. No choice was there, right? So do we obey to political leaders or there are many? I was surprised when I was actually trying to look for some different, pictures of different religions and all. And I was thinking majorly I'll just find for India, where there would be so many demigods and all come up when I look for a slide. But apparently there are gods from different countries as well. So should we be obedient to political leaders? Should we be obedient to religious books and principles, mentioned in different modern religions nowadays? Now, yesterday's class, His Grace Manobiram Prabhuji yesterday, he gave a wonderful explanation on different understanding and beliefs. So I'll not touch there. But, we are always in that, not we as in this assembly, because if you are here, I'm sure you are very clear on the aspect of who to obey to, but generally public always get confused on who to actually obey, whether it should be political leaders, religious leaders, their family, their, loved and dear ones. So someone might ask that, what is the problem if I obey these political leaders and different gods, different scriptures, different religions mentioned all over the world, all these new religions as well, pseudo religions, all those? What is the problem in that? What is the problem if I obey my family? What is the problem if I obey my friend who is very dear to me? Whatever he says, if I do that, what's the problem? See, the actual problem is not in religious obedience, political obedience, family obedience. The actual problem lies in blind obedience, be it of religious, family, or secular, for any secular reasons. This blind obedience is what Sanatan Dharma and our bona fide scriptures strongly condemns. Instead, what our scriptures talk about is visionary obedience. Okay, and that's what Bhagavad Gita gave us. Bhagavad Gita is a wonderful scripture. We all know it is. It's a conversation. It is conversation where the person is asking questions and questions and questions. He is not stopping until he is absolutely clear. The basis of Bhagavad Gita's visionary obedience is Krishna's extraordinary example, if we can say. Despite being God himself, he doesn't demand obedience merely on the authority of his divinity. Despite being Arjuna's spiritual master, where Arjuna in second chapter accepts Lord as his guru, Lord doesn't demand obedience based on his spiritual stature. Rather, he quotes in chapter 13, 13.5, he gives the visionary obedience idea to Arjun. He's saying, don't believe me, but what you need to believe. Rishi bhir bahuda gitam, chando bhir vividha prathak, brahma sutra paday shaiva, hetu mabdhir vinishchitai. He says that knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect. Right? He clearly mentions, he gives this visionary obedience. Now, what is the visionary obedience in this? I'm sure whoever has read through the purports of 13.5 would know what we are talking about, right? Prabhupada, Lord Krishna introduced us to the threefold visionary obedience. He introduces us to Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. He's telling to Arjun, there are various sages who have written about this thing, and it is in Vedanta, it's in the scriptures as well. See, this is what is actual scripture, a bona fide scripture, which is not biased, which is completely giving you a very honest picture. And at the same time, it's giving you the choice, giving you the right information, right? In Bhagavad Gita, although Krishna is God and Bhagavad Gita clearly establishes Krishna's divinity, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke, right? Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. Still, Krishna does not demand obedience. Rather, Krishna tells Arjun. What does he say to Arjun in 18th chapter? Yatichasi Tathakuru. Oh, see, I have given you this whole knowledge. I am the God. I know. Now you know also. Okay. And I'm telling you, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra helps you to understand your life's problems and why you are here and your constitutional position. But I'm not telling you to just do what I'm saying. He's asking Arjuna, do what I have told you everything. Now it's up to you, whatever you want to do. He's giving the jivas the independence to use our intelligence with the help of bona fide guru, bona fide sadhu, bona fide shastras. Why we should be then so confused on who to obey? Why I'll obey my family when I have Guru Sadhu Shastra? Now that can be a very controversial statement, but if your family is going against it, there are various ways to bring them to Guru Sadhu Shastra. You can still be obedient to them and yet at the same time follow the right principles. And that's a very different topic, but it just came out of my mouth, and that's why I said that it can be a very controversial topic. But what I meant to say was that we can obey our family and at the same time obey our friends, obey our teachers who are not in Krishna consciousness. We can still obey them. A perfect example is Prahlad Maharaj. He obeyed. He was the best son. He was the best student. Yet he followed his Krishna consciousness. Yes, yet his bhakti was unwavered. Right? We can learn from the Shastras, and this is what Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us. So we talked about what is obedience, which is practical application on instructions imparted, a verb, an action which needs to be done, and who to obey. We are not, our bona fide scriptures, any bona fide scripture will not ask for blind obedience. We need intelligent and reasonable obedience, completely based on Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Now comes the million-dollar question. The third point, why we should be obedient. And this, again, has been taken very nicely by Mataji on Sunday, in Sunday's class, and also previous speakers have talked about it. We all know, Jiver Swarup Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das, Mamay Vamsha Jivaloke. This is our constitutional position. It can be very easily understood by this example. And this is a very famous example. Srila Prabhupada gives this example where, so this hand, as long as it's attached with this cartoon character or with this human being, the hand can function. The hand can function very well, and it will function what the human being wants it to do. But if the hand is cut and kept aside because the hand wants its own independence, would the hand be able to ever enjoy, ever do anything? No. This is what we mean by Mame Vamsha Jivaloka. We are part and parcels of Lord. Without him, we cannot be happy. Very simple. Without him, we cannot be happy. We cannot even function without him. This whole, the Chaitya Guru, the soul. Without Chaitya Guru, we can't function. It's a fact. It's a fact. We are aware of Chaitya Guru. People who are not aware of Chaitya Guru, they call it gut feeling. They call Chaitya Guru as my instincts. But they cannot, no one can function without. And this is a fact. That's why we need to be obedient. That's why we need to be obedient to Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, to the instructions of the Lord. Let's see what Srila Prabhupada mentions. Would anyone like to give it a go on reading this?
I can carry on, please.
Obedience is the first law of discipline. If there is no obedience, there cannot be any discipline. And if there is no discipline, you cannot manage anything. That is not possible. Srila Prabhupada lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam 7/12/03. Sex life, spiritual life, Bombay, April 14, 1976.
Why we need to be obedient? Srila Prabhupada said it is the first law of discipline. We all want to be disciplined in our sadhana. If there is no obedience, there cannot be discipline. And Srila Prabhupada Leela Amrita also we read. Prabhupada said, you cannot do what you want. I want this, I would think about this. And no, you have to go with the facts. You have to be disciplined as well. There's another purport in Ishopanishad, first mantra, Ishopanishad. Srila Prabhupada writes that the root of sin is deliberate disobedience of the laws of nature through disregarding the proprietorship of the Lord. Disobeying the laws of nature or the order of the Lord brings ruin to a human being. Ishopanishad Purport, Mantra 1. Right? Disobeying the laws of nature or the order of the Lord brings ruin to a human being. We need to be obedient. We saw a practical example about the hand. The hand anyways cannot function. And think about it. If the hand is cut and he wants his own independence, doesn't want to work based on Lord's instructions, what will happen? It will be just cut and would be just sitting in a corner doing nothing. Right? We can see with the examples of demons like Hiranyakashipu, other demons as well. They wanted to enjoy separately from the Lord. There is also Vritrasur mentions in his fight with Indra, where he was encouraging Indra. Indra was very depressed and that, oh my God, he's so powerful. Indra completely forgot that he had Vajra with him. He had the guarantee from the Lord himself that you will win. Right? And we are all like that, right? Sometimes we have everything. We have the most powerful thing in the world, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We have the most powerful thing in the world. We have the mantra to have direct connection with the Lord. We have that mantra. Direct connection to the Lord we can do. Direct line we have. This is a story, I think, in one of the lectures of His Grace Amog Leela Prabhuji. It just reminded me. It's a very funny story where I think he was overseas somewhere and he went there. And whether it was him or he was just giving an analogy that a person went overseas and there was a board written, "Talk to God." And then he went inside and he connected to the Lord through a phone line. He spoke for around about half an hour or so. And then when he came back and he asked, he was just about to, when he was asked to pay, and he was like, "How much is the payment?" And they said $1,000. So he was like, "Yeah, okay, that's too much." And the man said that, "Yeah, that's fine. And you're going to, it's you're talking to Lord, so it's an divine line, right? So it's you have to pay that much." So it's like, "Yeah, fine, okay." And then the person who the person who was the owner, or the same person, he came to Vrindavan. And he came to Vrindavan, and there was he went to a person and said, "I want to talk to God here. I have talked before as well. I want to talk to God." And he said, "Oh yeah, okay." And then he gave a phone to him. He talked for 5-10 minutes or half an hour. He came back and he said, "Oh, how much?" And he said, "Oh, 10 rupees." And he said, "Oh, that's very cheap." And the Vrindavan Brajvasi said, "Oh, because this is direct line. This is local. And it's not an international call or divine call, it's local call." That reminded me for some reason that, the Maha Mantra is a direct call to the Lord. We have the most powerful thing, but still we are just, we are, whether it will work, whether it's possible, whether it is, why is it not possible? In our script, Jiva Goswami writes in his commentary that as soon as the Jiva thinks, any Jiva, he has not actioned it, mind you, he has not actioned it yet. As soon as he thinks that, oh, maybe I should start chanting from tomorrow, or maybe, soon I should pick up chanting bead and I should start chanting. Even if he thinks like that, Jiva Goswami writes that Lord becomes so pleased. Lord is looking, is that person thinking to take my name? He becomes so pleased and so happy with that person. What does he want? I'll give him anything. That is the power of Harinam, but we don't. And this same is with Indra. Indra has the Vajra, and he has the complete assurance from the Lord that you are going to win. But he was still with the power of Vritrasur. He just got, for some moment, a bit nervous. So Vritrasur was trying to encourage him. And he mentions in 12th chapter, 6th canto, he mentions that, I don't remember exactly which verse it was, but he mentions that victory only stands with the Lord. We all can never be victorious if we don't have Lord with us. If Lord wants, we'll have victory. If Lord doesn't want, we'll not have victory. And that is another thing why we need to be obedient to the Lord, because Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna.
Yes.
Right? Srila Prabhupada writes in that purport, he directly confirmed that Dhritarashtra could not expect victory for his side. Victory was certain for the side of Arjuna because Krishna was there. The fight was actually between Duryodhana and Yudhishthira. Arjuna was fighting on behalf of his elder brother Yudhishthira. Because Krishna and Arjuna were on the side of Yudhishthira, Yudhishthira's victory was certain. Right? Bhagavad Gita concludes with the prophecy that when devotee is one in will with the Lord, victory is guaranteed. Right? Arjuna's readiness to fight after hearing the Gita indicated this determination to serve the Lord. similarly, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, all these bona fide scriptures, Guru, Srila Prabhupada, Acharyas, they can make all of us similarly determined to serve the Lord. Our inner determination will please the Lord, and He will guide us from within as Chaitya Guru. This will help us choose wisely, act resourcefully, and thus win, many battles of our lives. Yeah, we may still face failures because this is the nature of material world. It will have dualities, but we'll always be in bliss. Shastras are filled with examples where obedience to Lord and His instructions, obedience to Guru, Sadhu, Shastra had resulted in victory. It might look for some time that, oh, okay, there's some problem. Like in this next example, Samudra Manthan, right? Now, Lord, before the Samudra Manthan, clearly told the Devatas that when the Amrit comes, don't become greedy, don't become anxious, just wait. Wait for my orders. Just don't do anything. Can you imagine Devatas and demigods both, demons and demigods both, they spent so much and they went through so much for the Samudra Manthan, for the Amrit to come, right? They were so tired. But when the Amrit came, the demons just stole it and rushed from there. Can you imagine the state of Devatas? They could have looked at, the demons and rushed to get it as well. But it's written, Srimad Bhagavatam states that Devatas remembered Lord's instructions and they waited. That wait and obedience to the Lord's instruction made them victorious. It was looking as if, demons will have all the Amrit, but that obedience to the Lord's instructions made them victorious. There's another, this canto itself, right? Example of Dhruv Maharaj. He was obedient to his grandfather when he was fighting with Yakshas, when he wanted to destroy them. He was obedient. When Swayambhu Manu came and asked him to not fight, what did Dhruv Maharaj did? He understood. He obeyed the instruction of the grandfather. And what happened then? Kuvera, he came and he was so happy and he blessed Dhruv. So you see, there is no loss. There would always be fortune when we listen to the orders of Lord, Sadhu, Guru, Shastras, right? And a very recent example of following the instruction of a spiritual master. This one, how can we forget, right? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If he would have not been obedient to his Guru, we would not be having this class and discussing obedience at all. At all. We have seen what Srila Prabhupada has done worldwide, and we continue to see, and there would be many in future. Right. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport of 1.5.24 in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very, 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 very powerful statement of Srila Prabhupada. He says, without being self-controlled, without being disciplined, and without being fully obedient, no one can become successful in following the instructions of the spiritual master. And without doing so, no one is able to go back to Godhead. Our going back to Godhead is very much dependent on us being fully obedient. Right? Such a wonderful, such a powerful statement from Srila Prabhupada. However, sometimes what happens is there are difficulties. We face difficulties in being obedient. At least I face difficulties in being obedient. There could be multiple reasons. Material modes is one of them. Material modes where, more of ignorance impacts us, we become lazy, we are tired, there are so many commitments around us, that we become too passionate. It's very rarely, except in Brahma Muhurat, that I would be in mode of goodness. Most of the time I would be in passion or ignorance, mostly ignorance. So it's very difficult to obey the each and every order to the fullest of as described in the scriptures. But then our Shastras are also filled with examples, like in whatever mode we are, we can serve the Lord. In whatever mode we are. I am reminded of our Guru Maharaj class, where one of the devotee asked Maharaj, Maharaj asked the devotee, you're not coming to classes anymore. And he said, Maharaj, it becomes very difficult. You know, I've got married, I have a small kid, and it's, he said, बहुत बड़ा जंजाल है महाराज, गृहस्थ धर्म, गृहस्थ is, you know, गृहस्थी is बहुत बड़ा जंजाल है, and I am unable to come to the classes and pay attention and follow all the instructions. It is, and then Guru Maharaj said that it's okay, गृहस्थ धर्म is a जंजाल, तो पूरे जंजाल को के साथ आइए कथा सुनने. He said, just bring the whole fish net with all the fishes you have and come to listen. What really inspired me was how Maharaj didn't said that, oh, no, you should have, you know, there are some standards you should have followed and this and that. No. And we can see that from all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Of course, Srila Prabhupada is a prime example of that, but also the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, where they continuously instruct us to work in our material position right now, wherever you are, sthane sthitaha, wherever you are. So yeah, there would be times when you are lazy, there would be commitments, but we'll actually look at one of Srila Prabhupada's thing, what Srila Prabhupada says. That will be, that is a very hope-giving thing. I'll actually end with that. But before that, I'll just like to mention one more difficulty what we have, and that is in understanding the instruction. I don't know if any one of you have that or not, but sometimes I don't understand the instructions, whether it's from the Shastras or whether Guru or you know, senior devotees would give. I sometimes have difficulty in understanding because of my mind being too rebel, and I'm trying to understand, why is it now? Why do I have to do this? Like, really, I don't understand. I can just do it for the sake of doing it, but sometimes you just think that, no, I don't have to do it. This is an optional thing because I don't understand it. You know, sometimes we are not clear on instructions as well. Either we are reading something or have been asked by our guru to do something, or by acharyas, or by a senior devotee, you know, and we don't know, we don't understand that particular instruction. So there's a difficulty in being obedient to that instruction. Again, the answer to that is Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagavad Gita teaches us. Arjuna was having difficulty, and Bhagavad Gita teaches. It's such a basic principle, but devotees often forgets it, or maybe don't take it so seriously, I would say. The principle is to ask submissively. 4.34, right? Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadyakshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshana. Pariprashnena sevaya. Submissively ask the person who has given you instruction, I'm having a bit of difficulty in understanding. What do you mean by, what will happen if I don't do it? What will happen if I do it? Right? That can, I think that helped me, at least. There might be other things as well, but that helped me in asking the question with the right attitude, in the right consciousness, to understand that instruction. When it's done, I don't think so, at least there's very rare that the person who has given you instruction will feel offended by that. But we need to ask. If we are having some trouble in understanding in any instruction, we need to ask. And then again, we talked about blind obedience, right? We didn't want blind obedience. So yeah, I don't understand, I'll still do it. But it's always good to ask. That would save us from blind obedience, and it will at least give us reasonable obedience. There's one more thing where you can do that. If you are unable to ask, Chaitya Guru will guide you. Keep on, you know, just say that I don't understand this particular instruction, Krishna. Can I just carry on doing it, and later stage you please make me understand why I'm doing this? Because I would really like to understand why I'm doing a particular instruction, why I'm following a particular instruction, right? And a very important thing which I thought, and it might not be so important for you all, but what I thought was how Lord, Lord has an authority over Prachina Barhesar, right? He has the authority over, he is the authority over everyone and anyone. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he doesn't contradict the Pracheta's father's instructions. He actually encourages Prachetas to follow that instructions. Something which I think leaders and senior devotees might like to notice, because we have seen in our congregation how senior devotees have behaved in this. They are very, very understanding, and where they would, just say, yeah, oh, okay, you have been ordered to this. Yeah, keep on doing that. But then there are some as well who would actually make an issue out of it and say, no, just stop doing that. What I'm telling you, do that, because I'm senior. I'm more senior to that person who has given you an instruction, right? So this was very, I just felt how Lord is teaching all at different stages, whether we are in a stage where I am like, whether we are trying to be a devotee, or we are an senior devotee, or we are in authority. Lord is with his example whenever he talks, whenever he comes in front of devotees, whenever he blesses them, he gives these wonderful insights, right? So he's not contradicting what Prachina Bhari has said. He's rather telling Prachetas to do what your father has. It's good to be obedient. Such a beautiful thing. So yeah, so the difficulties, what we talked about was one, sometimes the instructions are not clear. So the thing is, just ask submissively to Guru or to the person who has instructed you. Sometimes we are impacted by modes. We are very tired, lazy, or anything which is stopping us to perform the service to the fullest. At that time, sthane sthita. Keep on doing. Consistency is the key. Keep on doing, but from wherever you are. And yeah, sometimes there's lack of cooperation from authorities and seniors. This might not be often, but it was a very nice thing how Lord said to Prachetas to follow the orders, though he was the authority over Prachina Bhari, right? How to obey these orders is how Lord said in verse 11, take it pleasantly, take it to your heart, and faithfully execute the orders. That's what verse 11 talks about. And the hope-giving statement for people like me who are struggling sometimes due to modes. The verse is, is this 3.31 purport from Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada says, in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord, but because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. Such a wonderful statement by Srila Prabhupada. As long as we are sincerely following the instruction to the best of our ability and not being resentful or envious, we will be surely promoted to the stage of Krishna consciousness. A wonderful statement by Srila Prabhupada. Quick summary. What is obedience? Practical application, it's a verb. We are supposed to follow the instructions. That's obedience. Who to obey? No blind obedience. We need intelligent and reasonable obedience, completely based on Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And why should we be obedient? Now, this we looked at through the example of hand, through various examples from Shastra, Samudra Manthan, Dhruv Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. As long as, to be disciplined, we are supposed to be, why we should be obedient? Because it's very necessary. We are part and parcels of the Lord. Obedience is part of discipline. And also, only if we follow the orders, follow the instructions from scriptures, we'll be victorious. And then we also talked about difficulty in being obedient. So as long as we are sincerely, the last slide where Srila Prabhupada mentions in 3.31 purport, where we are sincerely following the instruction to the best of our ability and without being resentful or envious, we will be surely promoted to the stage of Krishna consciousness. Also, there was just one last point, which is like, please, what Srila Prabhupada, when we were reading the Prabhupada Leelamrita, where he mentions that hear, repeat, and chant. So in this auspicious month of Kartik, if we can obey this instruction of Srila Prabhupada, we should obey this instruction of Srila Prabhupada always. But in this month of Kartik, if we can emphasize on that, we will definitely benefit in our Krishna consciousness, rest assured. Thank you very much. I'll end it here. Any comments, realizations, or add-ons, please?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Quick
So,
summary from you, please.
Such a beautiful expression of the very small, purport, but you have elongated in so nicely, so systematically. To understand the obedience is so important for each one of the living being in this material nature. So obedience, as you mentioned, is three words: what, who, and why. Is always with us. You open your eyes in the morning, you see everything is in its own place because they are obedient to the Supreme. You see the sun is rising, sun is setting, for whose instruction is all about the obedience. So everybody follows the instruction of the someone who is the Supreme. And even in our works also, if you need to be obedient, otherwise you lose your job. It's very
Correct.
simple and obvious. If you go out, drive a car, you need to be obedient. Obedience means following the instruction. If you don't follow the instruction, you may end up in hospital. So in every step, you have to follow some instruction, whether it is favorable to you or unfavorable, but you have to follow. So only three people are there who can give you the right instruction, and that is Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. They are the only authority, and every step we can see that they are playing a vital role in our every moment of life, whether we know it, we knowingly accept it, or unknowingly. It is a force that always make us active to follow each and every step. So it is a part of our life. Obedience, without obedience, we cannot move a single step in our life. We start our life with obedience only. Right from the birth, we are obedient to someone, is our mother first. Without following the obedience, we won't get anything. We can't become a person in later life without the obedience of the mother's order. So in every step, obedience is there. Only it is a matter of understanding. We don't take it seriously or don't try to understand. We try to neglect it. That's why we say, oh, we can do whatever you want. We cannot. In every moment, in every angle, in every step, you are following something. So that is what obedience is. And we can see from Shastra and even from the Lilamrita. Srila Prabhupada was on and on telling the same thing. You have to follow. Then only you can understand. Without following the instruction, you can't understand, no matter who you are. So all our Shastra, all our instruction from our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, that is the same way. And at the end of Bhagavad Gita, this 1878 is the same thing. The victory is waiting for you. What you have to do to follow the instruction. Everything else will follow you. You don't need to worry about. You don't need to ask for whether I'll be victorious or not. It will automatically happen. So obedience is very, very important. And the sooner we understand it and follow in our life, life will be more happier, smoother, and the achieving of the goal of life is easy for every one of us. So that is the message we are getting from today's text. Thank you so much for
Thank you
explaining it
so
so
much.
nicely. Hare
Wonderful,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Okay, I think there are no other comments.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam,
Oh,
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you very much for the nice class, particularly bringing up the importance of obedience to the established order, in particular in spiritual life. And in fact, the obedience is necessary for us because in Bhagavad Gita also, Yuktaharo Viharasya, everything needs to be regulated. And if we do not do it ourselves, we need the instruction from others what we should do, because otherwise the consequence we have to face. Because if we've, as Prabhupada has told in various cases, that one who does not, even Parikshit Maharaj has told that if one doesn't hear it, and by that he takes if he hears the instruction and act accordingly, he gets saved. But if you have to experience it and face the consequence, often it is not good. The experience is not good. We are penalized for that physically and in various ways. So it is better for us to accept it. But the Lord Krishna has given us the liberty of non-interference, and he has left it to us. As we have mentioned in 1863, Lord Krishna has told Arjuna at the time that I have explained to you everything. The itite gyanamakhyatam guyat guyataram maya bimishyato dasheshani bimishyato dasheshani jatechhoshi tata kuru. I give you the liberty. Now it is up to you to decide. But a disciple always follow the instruction of the spiritual master. And if we go further, in 1872, again, Lord Krishna has told Arjuna that Kochid srutam patto to yekagreno manusha, kochid agyana sammo pranashtaste dhananjaya. So he has asked again, have you heard what I have told you? Have you given your thought on it? And have your ignorance has gone now? And Arjuna's reply was that that he was telling that I have accepted what you have told me, and accordingly I left. So he has told it, and when he has acted on that, the success was given to him. So if we hear from the authorities and what is beneficial for us, it is always beneficial. It will be beneficial for us because it was beneficial in the past. If we hear from our Guru and the Shastra, it will be beneficial to us also in future. So this is the instruction of the spiritual master, and this is the instruction of the Shastra. So if we abide by that, it will be for our benefit only. And if we are disobedient, and if we want to enjoy it in our person, we want to be speculative and follow and act on our own, then we have to face the consequence. That is what the Shastra tells us. So thank you once again for bringing out that point that we have to be obedient in our spiritual life, because that is the basis of spiritual life. It begins with that and it ends with that if we remain obedient to our spiritual master, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, just wanted to say very, very nice class. Thank you for sharing insights on obedience. And I just want to add how to be obedient. One other thing is we always keep in mind that we are Das or Dasi, we are servant. Then as part of job description, automatically we have to be obedient. And it'll also keep us humble. If we say we don't know, then we have to ask other people. So we have to follow what they say. So that was just another thought that came. But thank you very much. It was a wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. That reminds me of one, actually, when His Holiness Vedvyas Priya Maharaj came once back in Auckland. He gave a lecture and he said that, there are times when devotees call each other as, oh, Sita, come here. Oh, Tulsi Sevya, come here. And he said that, and in that time, in that moment, we forget that we are actually Dasis. We are actually Dasanudas. So he said that we should always address any devotee with their name, if you want to, with the name, but it should always end with Prabhuji or Mataji. That was also, that reminds me of that, Tulsi Sevya Mataji. Wonderful. So I think
Hare Krishna Mata, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Smriti Nima here. Mata, just a question.
Okay, please.
So, thank you first of all. You explained the importance of being obedient. But how can one? I mean, what's the impact of someone listening to a person, or because there's so many people who can say things and they seem to be obedient, but they are not obedient. So, what's the impact to that person who's listening to someone or following someone who's not obedient? From a spirituality and sadhana perspective. And is it the impact is both ways, or is it just one way?
Yeah. So Prabhuji's question, Prabhuji, correct me if I'm wrong. So if any devotee or if any person is following a person the other person is not actually obedient to the laws of, to Sadhu Guru Shastra, to instructions of Lord, what would be the impact on the person who is following that person? Am I right?
Yes, Mata.
Yes. Okay. So from my limited understanding, Prabhuji, this question was asked to His Holiness Bir Krishna Maharaj as well, that if a person, what if the counselor or the mentor in ISKCON is not obedient to the orders of Srila Prabhupada, or not fully obedient to the orders of Srila Prabhupada, and he's mentoring many devotees, and the devotees who are following him are very sincere. So what will happen to them? And what His Holiness Bir Krishna Maharaj replied was that as long as the persons who are following the mentor are sincerely following him with the consciousness to progress in Krishna consciousness and to know about Srila Prabhupada, his books and all, with that consciousness, everything is bhavgrahi janardana, right? So Krishna they won't be impacted. Rather, Chaitya Guru within will guide them to look at the right picture of the mentor at some stage. So whoever is impacted, it's the mentor, not the person who is listening to that. That was the words of His Holiness Bir Krishna Maharaj, which made sense to me. But if anyone else had any other thoughts, please, you can pitch into the answer.
Hare Krishna Mataji, just to add to that, you said there are two angles actually in this. Somebody is following somebody. So the obedience is there, whether it is in the right way or wrong way. Somebody is following somebody, so obedience is there. But the source of obedience, the source who is delivering the obedience, he is not following. That's why he is in problem, or he will face the consequences. But the later part of this next person who is following him is actually following the obedience. So
Correct.
it is two-way.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
So consequences are always there. It is good or bad. That depends on what direction you are following the instruction. If you are following through the shastra, naturally the result will be favorable. If not, it will be always unfavorable. It is all in the shastra itself. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Prabhuji. Thanks. That also reminds me something that, we are trying to seek answers through our intelligence, through whatever intelligence we have accumulated. But there is one very, very important and very underrated avatar of Lord, which is our Chaitya Guru, Paramatma. It is very underrated, actually. But he always guides. And he's very, very, very prominent to anyone who is very sincerely trying to practice Krishna consciousness. And that would definitely, Paramatma within would definitely guide the person correctly to obediently follow with the right consciousness.
Thank you, Mata. But not everybody, it's not simple to understand what the Chaitya Guru is telling you now. So till you reach that level of purity, you need to, you're dependent on someone,
Yeah. you and that's what. So what happens is when we are trying to, so see, if you are saying that person is trying to sincerely follow the instructions, I completely differ that there is any purity needed. As per Srila Prabhupada, sincerity is the key. Consistency is the key. If they are trying to sincerely follow Srila Prabhupada under a mentor who is not the correct mentor, people are not. Krishna gives them the intelligence, Dadami Buddhi Yogam. Are we questioning that actually? Krishna gives them the intelligence. Krishna doesn't say that only when you become pure, then I'll give you the intelligence, right? As soon as you are sincerely trying, you are coming to, association of devotees. Krishna gives you the intelligence. I have, in my short term of Krishna consciousness, I have come across many such mentors and such sincere devotees who have been following the mentors. But Krishna guided them through. And then there are some where Krishna has not guided them through as well. But that's, as you mentioned, there could be some other reason too. But Chaitya Guru always help, Prabhuji, always help. It's our choice whether we are listening to Chaitya Guru or not. He will always help, irrespective of your purity level. It's just that we become deaf to what he is saying. But I completely believe in what His Holiness Bir Krishna Maharaj said. So I just stopped there. Maybe you can ask this from, do we have, Nandaraj Prabhuji is not here, or any other, Abhay Charan Prabhu or Saradiya Mataji,
Sorry, Mataji, I'm not that. Please do not say anyone to follow me. I'm sorry.
But they are.
Yeah.
If I'm unable to, Sumati Nimai Prabhu, I'm so sorry about that.
Thank you, Mata. Thank you, Mata. You gave me the answer. Thank you, Mata.
You can please refer to someone else as well. But that was a wonderful question and very, very, very practical question, actually. Thank you for asking, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mata. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. I think we can end the discussion here.
Yes, Mataji. I think there is no other questions to.
Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
All grace to the assembled devotees. Hare